Breaking news. Gospel music has a marketing budget now. Imagine that. And it might be better than yours. On May 1st, a church in Brooklyn released a sophomore album nationwide. Full streaming rollout, okay? Distributed through the same pipeline that moves Sony Music's catalog. That is not a mixtape, okay? That is not for the culture freebies. Nobody uploaded that on Sunday. A full rollout. This is the strategic release with singles, features, and a rollout calendar tighter than half the major labels. Uh, it was something. It was something to witness. The album is called Breaking News Live. The artist, CCC Music and Media. The music and creative arm of Christian Cultural Center. Okay, a congregation of more than 37,000 with campuses in Brooklyn, Long Island, Orlando, and Atlanta. Okay, their website is amazing. You got to check it out. And the guest list reads like a gospel all-star roster. Grammy nominated individuals. We got Darwin Hobbs and the CCC Collective. It is going to be an amazing show today. I cannot wait to share this with you. But what I want you to understand is that the church has always done, and the church is doing what it's always done, and it's produced and distributed and promoted this album like something we haven't seen in a while in the industry. Listen, I'm Tanya McKenzie, Chief Controller of the Narrative. I've spent 20 years telling leaders and brands how to control a story before the story controls them. And today, we're talking to some folks about what happened when the church stopped asking the industry for permission and started building its own media company. I mean, imagine that. Because Breaking News Live is not just an album title, it's a mission statement from what I'm reading. So let's welcome our guests. Hey, how you guys doing?
Amazing. How you doing?
Man, awesome. I am so thrilled to have y'all here because I feel like you have put on a masterclass in controlling your own narrative. Instead of asking, y'all decided what you wanted to do and you made it happen. So thank you for being here. And, I'm just thrilled that I think I might get a few gems today.
Amen. Listen, yeah. I love what you're saying. I love what your whole part of your purpose is, which is helping people control their narrative and take the narrative before the streets will. I love that. That's how I live my own personal life, honestly. But yeah, thank you for acknowledging that and realizing that that's kind of what we're doing with releasing breaking news. I mean, we know in the world we live in now, there's all kinds of breaking news. So we're kind of taking that narrative and we're putting Jesus in the center of the narrative with our music that we're releasing. But that's kind of what Christian Cultural Center, CCC, is all about anyway. So, it's been that Pastor A.R. Bernard has been doing that for years. He's been, putting forth the narrative of Christ in the culture. But then here we come, with some music that supports that. So that's what we're doing.
Music has been such a big part of our culture in the church for so long. It really connects us, our soul. It's not just the words, like it's very, oh God, it's just deeper than words.
Absolutely.
It connects you in a way that nothing that is spoken does for you. So I think that what you guys are doing, it kind of supersedes what others have done in this space. And I just applaud you for that.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, not to say, I don't think we've, reinvented anything, but there's something that goes towards saying just kind of being authentically just who your authentic self and being in your lane and as the kids say, killing it in your lane. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're in our lane over here, and we're doing what we do, what we've been called to do, and what we're purposed to do, what we're skilled to do. And it's not in an arrogant or braggadocious way that we do it. It's just this is who we are. And so we're just kind of weighing in, with the music.
Well, let me ask you, Breaking News Live has you guys had your national rollout in a distribution pipeline that runs through the Orchid and then Sony Music's own network. When did CCC Music and Media stop thinking like a choir and start thinking like a label? Walk me through that.
Oh, Jossie, answer that. That's good. And I can chime in.
Yeah, so I think there was a moment in time where we were just trying to figure out like what would the next steps be for us to release music. And our leadership, Pastor Jamal and Pastor A.R. Bernard, they were really eager in helping us to create something. So we first started writing in 2021, no, 20, around COVID. Around that time, started writing songs, and then as the years progressed to currently, the door opened for us to come alongside Sony to release this music.
Lovely. Darwin?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at your question, stop thinking like a choir and start thinking like a label. So we still think like a choir. Okay, because we have an amazing choir. We're about to release a choir album here soon. But I will say this, and CCC has had a label for a while. I think that I think it's both and. I don't think it's either or. I think we still think in terms of, being a choir, because we have a choir and then we have a smaller group of people that kind of make up maybe an ensemble kind of worship team, which is kind of what CCC Collective, this album that we're talking about now, that's kind of what that is. It's praise and worship. It's the worship team and the choir together, but it's more the worship team, a smaller group of people. Jossie, myself, Kim, Kelvin, Diana, Lenny, all of us that, kind of created these songs that are, again, more quote unquote praise and worship songs, not really a choir album per se. But the refreshing part about it is that and on the label side of it, I think that, and Pastor Bernard is no stranger to the marketplace. So I think that CCC having its own label is in keeping with that. He is a marketplace guy. Pastor Jamal, they're marketplace / ministry minded people. And so in keeping with that, it's like, yes, we do ministry. Yes, we have all this huge, one of the biggest or the biggest Black church or a church period in New York City, but it's and there is Christ in the culture, but in order to do that, though, then you can't ignore marketplace. You can't ignore the fact of your place and your call to the marketplace and to do things outside of the four walls. Okay, so the label and us recording music that is, again, suitable for and really tailored towards, Sunday morning and our experience on Sunday morning. But this is music that people can take in their lives, and enhance their worship lifestyles that they have, and enhance their relationship with God, and just music that supports that. So I love that. I love the question, in essence, because it caused me to think about, well, how do we think? And I think that our thinking it's broad and it's both and, because we think as a choir, or think about choir music and what that means. But then we also have this label mindset that's very practical, and it's very intentional about being, diligent to the business of what we're doing, which is because now we are official. We are in the music industry. But when you release music like that, and you hire a publicist, and you know what I'm saying, all the things. So yeah.
So, I mean, I personally think you'd be derelict in your duty if you didn't at this point, because you have it to offer. You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you?
That's right. Yeah. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And I mean, some people, I think if they're maybe a little bit more antiquated in their thinking. They may not be as forward, but we have a leader that just kind of, again, is not afraid of that. He doesn't shy away from marketplace. Okay. Pastor Bernard
Yeah.
is he's the chaplain of the New York. He's the chaplain, right? Of one of the chaplains of the New York
Yes.
City Police Department. So
Yeah.
that ain't pulpit. That ain't just in the four walls. This man is in the streets and making a difference wherever he might find himself. So that's kind of what we're doing with our music.
Do you think that a smaller congregation would be able to pull something like this off?
Yeah, and there's people that are doing it all the time, because really it's not it. I wouldn't say that it's easy, but really all you have to you need music. Obviously, you need content. You need that music, and we partnered, yes, with a major distributor to put the music out. But I mean, that's not what it requires. Now, I just feel like if you're doing it and if you're being smart about what you're doing, I think you need to partner with a major distributor just because it maximizes the visibility and the placement and all that. Because now music digitally, the digital landscape is really where you need to be to maximize your visibility. So yes, you need digital service providers, Apple Music, Spotify, all that. You got to have presence there. Okay. And so I think it helps us when we partner with the right people so that we can get the maximum visibility on the DSPs, the digital service providers, So, but I mean, if you're a smaller church, you can do that. Absolutely. It takes, again, due diligence. I don't care what size your church is, but, or what size, even like if we're not talking about churches, we're just talking about independent artists, period. Now, when I first started in music, because I've been recording on my own for years, when I first started recording, man, if you didn't have a major label, it was just hard for you. But nowadays, with this landscape, independent artists can compete at any level because it's more direct to the consumer than it is just through a major label.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and a principle that Pastor Era Bernard has taught us is that relationships are the network for life. So for any size church, just as long as you build relationship and network and do what you have to do, anything is possible.
Love that. Now, Israel Houghton has spent decades being the artist other people call when they need some instant credibility. What did his yes actually do for how the industry looks at this project?
Well, I mean, and I can't speak for Iz. We call him Iz because he's not here. But I feel that he would say, and I hope he watches this back because I'm speaking for you. This is what I'm doing, Israel. I'm being so no, but if Israel would definitely, I would say that he is a local church. Israel has been committed to the local church for most of his life, okay, and ministry. And though he writes anthems that the world will sing beyond all of our years here on this call, he has maintained his level of commitment to the local church. Okay, so I think that Israel saying yes to this is, whether it was CCC or any of the other churches he's partnered with, it's just in keeping with what his heart is, because his heart is local church and his heart is penning songs that local church can run with and penning anthems that Christians and those alike would embrace. Okay, so I think that though we're so, I'm gonna call it privileged, and we're honored and we're grateful for Israel being a part of our church, okay, first. And then for him to agreeing to be a part of the music of our church is just icing on the cake. But Israel is a homie. We all belong to Christian Cultural Center. We ain't just employees there. This is our family. You know what I'm saying? So that helps make the difference.
Can I call him Iz too? Can you ask?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's not going to mind at all. So that's Iz. That's whatever. That's what anybody that's, if you're close to him, then you call him Iz. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay, Iz. Hey. All right. I love this. I want to go back a little bit to what you said previously, because we were talking about the marketplace.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, there's still a segment of the church that treats strategy and marketing as worldly. Okay. You said, what was the word you used? Archaic. Yes, that would be it too. Worldly, archaic, whatever. Antiquated. Sorry. Archaic also, because some of them act like dinosaurs, but
absolutely
we'll there. What do you say to people who think gospel music should just happen organically, not get rolled out like a product? Like,
Well, I
what do
mean,
you say to those people?
Well, I mean, they can, you're not maximizing your potential and your visibility, and if you're going, I think we need to evolve. We need to be relevant to the culture that we say we're called, especially ministry people, okay, churches. If you're saying, I'm called to reach the masses, I'm called, but you're not willing to kind of um, maximize the potential of that and just and utilize the systems that are in place to maximize your visibility in that way, then you're living beneath your privilege is what I would say to people. And I would say, and again, you can release music and just put it out there and throw it against the wall and see what sticks, but I don't believe you're going to be maximizing your potential in this way. And so, but it does take a conscious effort, and it takes a willingness to kind of, you know, I'm gonna say it like this: to play the game in the way that it's played in 2026 without compromising who you are and whose you are. Jossie, you got something to add to that?
No, I totally agree with you. It's really important to step out of your comfort zone, step out of
Yes.
doing things that are status quo. Do something different. And their relationships are the network for life.
Yeah. Wait a
Network.
minute. And you said like, and do something different and get a different result. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Yeah,
I just think I
yeah.
feel like, sometimes we get so stuck in our ways. I'm having to tell myself this. Let me tell you something. I'll be 60 years old in 2 years. And this is again shameless plug, but I recorded my own album last year live in Atlanta. And I had a 19-year-old kid to produce it. Now as a kid say, he's a beast. I mean, he's amazing. But I,
Amazing.
I but I chose him because it was strategic, not just because he does great music, but because it was the whole uh, transgenerational kind of thing, and the multi-generational expression that I wanted represented in my own music. Because I was like, I don't want to just be the Uncle Darwin, the OG that's coming up in here, in 2026, releasing music, and I needed to be relevant to all levels, all generations of ears, So I think I had to, again, I made a conscious decision. I was very strategic in who I would have to produce my album. And so, but shame on me if I'm like, yeah, but I'm just, I'm OG, so I'm gonna have the older guys produce my stuff. Nothing against people that are older and in my age bracket that are producers, but a
Right.
lot of time, I needed sonically, I needed the
Yeah.
the listener to listeners of all ages,
Yeah.
but even specifically, I wanted my music to be palatable to the younger generation, the emerging leaders and the emerging creatives, the emerging worship leaders. I want
Yeah.
them to embrace Darwin Hobbs music just like somebody in my generation, because then guess what? To me, that pays it forward. It not pays it, but how about this? It plays it forward, okay? Because I feel like
I
the
love it.
worship, yeah, the worship leader. That's kind of good, ain't it? It plays it forward, okay? Because it gives it life beyond just my age group. I mean, what are we doing? We're planning to fail. We're planning to be extinct if we don't build and pour into the emerging leaders.
He said, just throw it out there with a
Agree.
hope and a prayer. No, we're not doing that. Okay.
No,
We're not doing that.
No.
no, not at all.
Darwin Hobbs built his legacy before streaming existed. And I love that about your story. What does it mean to put a legend like him next to a collective full of voices most of the country has never heard yet?
Oh, well, I mean, again, this is my family, these folks, and so here, and again, we,
Legend.
we
First of
just, oh,
all,
thank you.
first
Legend.
of
Yeah.
all, how does it even feel to have that uh, connected to you? Legacy, legend. Like, talk to me about what that feels like.
Well, I mean, I'll use another L word, and that's longevity. Because
Mm.
I asked God years ago. I said, look, as long as I do this, I need to have the ear of the listener. If I call myself a worship leader and somebody that's releasing music that I need other people to embrace, bring alongside their worship journey, then I need to have longevity. I don't want to be here today, gone tomorrow. So I appreciate the fact that that's what God's blessed me with, and that's longevity. I've been doing this for years. And so, again, my home and my mainstay has always been local church. Okay, so I've been at CCC for 15 and a half years, okay,
Mm.
doing the work I do there. So, when my interaction with them and my position there is as a family member first, okay? So we all just happen to be doing music together. I just happened to be Darwin Hobbs outside of, and then thank God for it, because again, I think that legacy status, it gives me entree and it gives me access to the ears of the listener. Okay, so I love it. But when it comes to my home and my family, CCC, man, it's just like hanging out. We're all hanging out. I mean, listen, let me tell you something. It's just even people like Jossie, which shameless plug, she's going to be working on her album soon, and she is I use these terms that the kids use, how they say she's a beast, she's a monster. I really, it's terrible. Those words are terrible, but but it does properly describe the impact that people like her have, because she's incredible. So I can't wait for people to hear her, but I'm glad that you even brought up the fact that maybe otherwise people don't know who she is. They don't know her music. They don't know who Jossie is. They don't know who Kim Harley is. They don't know, who even the other young lady that was with us on our album, Diana. I don't know Diana's last name.
Morales.
Diana Morales, but I mean, people, Lenny Smith, these kids are emerging. Okay, so for Israel and I, who've had some longevity in the landscape of the business, for us to come alongside them, man, and to help push forward their sound and their expression, is super rewarding. It's super rewarding.
Big deal. Listen, and I'm going to ask you a personal question. This is just for me, because I love how you speak about the local church, right? And the family unit it brings. I grew up in Emmanuel Baptist Church in the Bay Area, and it was a itty bitty church, and now it's a phenomenally large church in San Jose, California, and I miss it. But I live in LA now, and listen, I don't want to make LA feel bad and all their amazing churches, but I just ain't felt at home anywhere else. And I'm just trying to figure out, when you leave your base, even when you travel and you go places, I go to church, I want to leave with something, and I never leave feeling like I feel at home. Even, nothing on the pastors and nothing on the choir. I just never feel at home somewhere else. Is that kind of how you're feeling about your small church environment, your family unit that's there, why it will always be a part of who you are and what you give?
Well, let me tell you something. This is good what you're saying, because I was just talking to my daughter's hairstylist about this, and that is a lot. Not in every. I'm not making a blanket statement, all right. But in a lot of situations, a lot of scenarios, we've gotten so away from really the true meaning and essence of what local church is all about. Community, even back in the Bible days, the breaking of bread and prayers and fellowship and koinonia, there's a fancy churchy term, but fellowship, just connecting with people, how about this? Knowing people's names, speaking
knowing their birthdays.
Knowing their birthday. Exactly. So, but I will say it takes a great deal of intention. I think that CCC is a huge church, but for me to walk down the corridor and there's a little older lady named Elder Beverly that says my name to me, and Jossie's, she's been there way longer than I have, but Jossie, you probably can attest to it. It's big, but it does feel like a small family.
Yes.
It's
a huge church, but it does feel very personable.
Because no matter how large Emmanuel has gotten, I still feel like immediate family, even if I haven't been in a year.
Exactly.
And I feel bad. I feel bad, like I'm not giving another church a chance or something. But that's not it. I've just never really been able to verbalize that. But it kind of sounds like what you're saying in regards to who you will always be to that church family. Absolutely.
And again, overuse of this word today, but it takes a great deal of intention. I think sometimes we think things will just happen by osmosis. That's just not how it is. You have to be intentional about maintaining the main thing, keeping the main thing the main thing. Okay, in this instance, the main focus, which is Jesus. Okay, and also, but just not Jesus. That's a vertical posture that we have to maintain. But even the horizontal, in the horizontal way, we have to maintain relationships with people. I have, Jossie, and I keep saying other people that are not on this interview. When I say Kim and Kelvin and Jossie and Brian and Nephi, these are people that are on our team. Okay, these are people that we have relationship. It's not just some transaction where we show up on Sundays, and so it's not just transactional. It's relational that we because, and it's, I can't lie, or I can't ignore it. Not lie, but I can't ignore this. It it's because of the culture that is cultivated there. Okay, and that's because it's Pastor Bernard and his, because he's a pastor. It's not just, again, not just some, it's just not some transaction that we fulfill or that we satisfy week by week. We really are doing what I would say life together. We fall out like every other all siblings and we fuss and argue just like, even during this recording process, we fought and argued and all of that, because that's what we do as siblings. You know what I'm saying? But the beautiful part about it is, at the end of the day, our hearts are joined together. They're connected. That's why you hear what you hear when you play breaking news, because it's our hearts being knit together. That was that unity. So at the end of the day, it don't matter that we fall out and that we disagree, and you wore red when I told you to wear green, whatever. Our hearts are where they need to be. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we were able to end up with the product that we have. Breaking news.
Okay, so now I feel like maybe I'm being unintentional when I go visit other churches, because I don't want to bond with anyone else, because I want to stay connected to my family.
Well, let me just say, no, but let me tell you something. For me. Right, but let me tell you, no, I feel, I'm not even talking about, I'm kind of, now I'm more tracking with what you're saying. So I think that it's important, like even for me, I go because I'm an artist, and I go and I get invited to all kind of churches, big, small, medium, whatever. I don't have the level of connection with those places that I have at home.
Yeah.
And so now let me just say this. Ooh, this is good. Check it out. I feel that a lot of artists, I tell emerging leaders this all the time. I don't care what your itinerary is. You need to solidify and make sure that you have a strong base and foundation at home. Even people like Jossie, she's about to record her first album, and and I know it's going to go great, because the connection that she has, because she's going to be connected to what we're connected to, and she's going to have some major distribution, and she's going to be an artist. Jossie is going to be give it 18 months, and you're going to be like, oh, so everybody knows who Jossie is. Okay, but guess what? Shame on Jossie if she ever doesn't maintain a high level of intention to stay connected with us as her homies. And she goes out here trying to establish herself, because she's going to be able to go into all kind of churches and sing her music. But the thing that's going to make Jossie, it's going to give her an edge above a lot of people, because she's very committed to home. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't mean to give you some kind of coach session, Jossie, in front of everybody, but
I'll take it.
I'm following.
She better not ever do that, because then I'm gonna yank her in the collar.
Listen,
you need to make sure, absolutely, and just make sure that your home. This is your base. This is your foundation. So she and she and other people. Man, I'm like, just please keep it at the local. The local church is God's idea. It always has been. It is and always will be. And I just feel like there's a safety in that. There's accountability in that. There's community in that. And there's there's just a lot to be said about, like you said, the people. And it's not to say you can't connect with other people, but it gives an edge, which is a very good edge for people to have this strong connection with their home church. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And now I don't feel bad at all. I'm still connected to my home church. So listen, I understand the CCC Collective model is built on shared voices, not one central star. And you have put a bow around that idea. But in an industry obsessed with single faces and a single brand, why bet on a group?
Well, let me see. Listen, I just wanted to read to make sure I had that question right. Because it's, even if something's not popular and if it's not the preceding thing to do, we are called as trendsetters. Number one, we're called to do what it is we do, and have that to be, especially if it's Godward, to have that to be mirrored in the public. And so listen, again, yes, Israel is who Israel Houghton is to the industry, to the world, because that's what God made him. Darwin, same thing. He's given me some influence and given, all, but guess what? The thing that we're really wanting to communicate, this is the breaking news, is that Jesus is alive. And as we know with Jesus, then there's a sense of love and inclusion and community that is like no other. So that's kind of what we're promoting, man. Even though, yes, Israel is kind of like a hinge and me because we have faces and everybody knows who we are, and we just so happen to be that. But this is our home church. We're all together. CCC Collective. That's why it's called Collective. Jossie, you chime in because they're working in this building where I am, and you probably hear that saw or something. But chime in and say something behind that.
Yeah, because Jossie, and when you go with that, the way that he has elevated you just in this conversation, I would even ask you the same thing because it sounds like you could just rock it on your own. Why bet on a group?
I feel it's better to bet on the group because we have a wonderful group of individuals that are gifted and are in the space where we are all eventually working on individual projects. So instead of us working on individual projects and releasing them, the idea was to bring us all together, put us out on a collective album, and then eventually slowly distribute each individual with their personal projects. So I'm not the only one that's coming out of this breaking news project with a solo album. Kim Harley will have something as well.
That's right.
The choir is going to have something as well. So there is a plan. There is a rollout for how they went about promoting the album with the group.
And let me just add to what Jossie's saying, because yes, she's right. We got CCC Collective, this album, Breaking News, which is our kind of like, it's our community, it's us as a group. She's going to be releasing her own album on the label. Kim Harley is going to release her own album. And then our choir is going to release an album. But here's another thing. Everybody's not called to be a solo artist. Everybody's not called to do their own thing. And so this is really a good prototype for people to like, just, if you're called to operate in community and in a group, as the question asks, do that, but guess what? And this maybe sound like a narcissistic statement because I feel like I'm patting myself on the back in Israel, because guess what? Yes, you're right. What you just said. Yeah, we could just go out and because we are doing. We have our own projects out there, but we understand our call and our assignment to the group as well. So we're doing both ends. We don't have to, God is not limited. Okay, so he's going to bless what I'm doing with CCC Collective. I told you, I just released an album 2 weeks ago. Then here right at the same time that we released ours. And so it's all working together because guess what? At the end of the day, it's a kingdom message that we're interested in getting into the minds and the ears and the mouths of the people. So guess what? It all works together. So we hitting you from all directions now. Yes. All of it.
I hear you. Right? Okay. So let me ask you this. CCC has 37,000 odd members across 4 cities. How much of this album's early buzz is congregation and how much of it is real streaming activity from people who have never sat in your pews?
So I definitely feel it's probably more congregational. I think it's more so congregational that it's getting out there. We are tasked to sing the songs in service at all of our campuses. And I believe that has contributed to the streams because people are talking about it. They want to learn the song. They're trying to hear the version that we sing in service, which is sometimes different than what they hear on the live recording. But it's definitely creating a buzz. I would say more so word of mouth with the congregation versus online streaming.
I like that. Anything to add, sir?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to be like, what? That was an amazing answer to that because I don't really have anything to add. I believe what Jossie's saying is true. We do have a large following, so I think that helps to, kind of push things. I think CCC Collective is still, though, a baby. I think that it's still in its infantile stages. It's definitely not as exposed as some other artists that are releasing. It's not as exposed as Israel or as Darwin Hobbs, but it's It's definitely making its mark. And I think that, and when I say making its mark, I think it's going to make a larger mark, not just for the purpose of just being popular, but just it's all about the message. And that sounds churchy, but it is what it is. We really do have breaking news in the midst of so much horrible news that we all contend with every day. We are coming with some better, I call it breaking news, but I call it better news than what it is that we have to contend with and hear on a daily basis. So, all right, yeah, but I don't have nothing further to add to that. That was great.
I actually wanted to add to that myself and say the fact that you know that those people in the pews are supporting this lets you know you are doing God's work. It's not like they're not supporting and you're just doing something independent of what the Lord has called you to do or something adverse to what your congregation would support. You know what I'm saying? So I think her answer shows how much in line what you're doing does, not just for you, the church, the communities that you support, and for the people that need all of that in their life. So, congratulations to y'all for kind of hitting that out the park. And on that note, a year from now, okay, let's look at a year from now. Is Breaking News Live the album that proves a church can do all the things and run a real music company? Or is this kind of just a small flex for y'all? What does success actually have to look like for y'all to say this is a win? I mean, I think that your church supporting it is already a win, but I want to know from you what this being a win looks like.
I feel that, Jossie, I feel it's going to be a win when the sound is perpetuated and when the sound is pushed forward by other churches and other people because guess what? It's for, even like with my own album, the purpose for which it was recorded was that these songs would be resources, and it's like we recorded a resource for church and for other worship leaders and for the body of Christ. So if I would say in a year, what our goal is not just CCC, but churches all around the world will be lifting these songs and singing them, because then by a year, probably we will have released another album, or be working on one at least. So I think that's what makes it win. Okay, now we hope that maybe radio plays the music and that, on social media that people are talking about it and that, there's marketing opportunities and other opportunities for us to go out and share and perform. But at the end of the day, this is me talking. I feel that what will make it the most successful, I feel like this about my own album as well, is if the people that we recorded it in mind with, if they pick these songs up and they and sing them, and it helps to create this wall of sound in local churches. And people, you walk in a church and you hear somebody sing, Hallelujah Yahweh, or one of the Blessing and Honor. I'm naming song titles now from the album. If you hear people singing those songs, then we won.
I agree. I agree. I think it's what would be considered a win for us is one, for our names to be heard, and for people to know who CCC Collective is, and to know that there are individuals that are part of CCC Collective that are going to come out of this exalting God and having the opportunity to write alongside legends like Darwin and Israel, but to also see that there is growth, and it's not just going to be this breaking news album and then we fall off the map. I believe that the goal was to put this out for us to continue to put more music out. Keep it seniors.
Love that. Well, listen, I feel like I could just keep asking and talking and clapping for the work that you guys are doing, but I want you to let the people know how they can get in touch with you, where they can get the album from. I put it all in the captions, but I want you to tell them, and then how they can continue to support and follow your journey, because I think our journeys are what's important here.
That's really good. I know that, and Jossie probably can say better than I can, but I know that on Instagram, I want to say it's CCC Global. She's going to tell you. But on Instagram, I know we're on Instagram. And of course, we our church, I think it's cccinfo.org. That's our website. And then we have an app that's CCC Info. If they go to the App Store and put in CCC or put in Christian Cultural Center, it'll bring up our app. You can watch all of our campuses on there live. You can see all kind of other, do all, all the things that apps do. You can do that. And, but Jocelyn, what is the Instagram?
The Instagram is CCC Collective Global. And you'll get the story from the very beginning to where we are now and up until the next project. And then cccinfo.org for the app to download, to watch services, and yeah.
And let me tell you something. And I like to hang out on Instagram too. So just at Darwin Hobbs, follow me too, because I like to hang out and cut. And Jossie's, I think she's Jossie Smiles on Instagram.
Yes, at Jossie Smiles.
And Jossie, do you have a president of your fan club yet? Because I might, I might be free once you drop that album. I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't have one just yet, so okay.
Okay, can you let a sister know? So.
And let me tell you, she's going to need it. I'm telling you. And she already knows this, but I'm one of her biggest fans. And she's just get ready. Y'all ain't, I'm gonna say it like they say, y'all ain't ready, but she's coming. She's coming. She and Kim Harley. I mean, that's one of the things I love about being at CCC. We have such a diverse offering of different expressions as far as music. There's Israel. He does what he does. I do what I do. Jossie does what she does. Kim does what she does. Kelvin, we have just a diverse offering of music and creatives. And that's all featured on CCC Collective's album. So it's just, we hang out and I think you said earlier about hitting a home run. Man, we hit home runs every single week because we're all just there being obedient to do what God told us to do in that church.
Jossie has such an amazing smile when you are giving her flowers. I don't know if you've noticed that, but when you give her flowers, her smile is it's different. It's just something different. So I'm looking forward to seeing that more because I have a feeling there's some things coming down the pipe and I'm excited about it. Love it. I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. I'm excited about how people are receiving the album. I'm thrilled that the congregation is receiving what y'all are putting down because it can't do anything but be up from here. And for everybody else, listen, this is Breaking News Live. And honestly, I think that was the point. I think that's why I was excited to have them here. This is the point. The church does not need the industry's permission to build one of its own. They are doing their thing. If this conversation gave you something to sit with, I want you to do 3 things before we close out. I want you to subscribe to the channel on YouTube because I got more for you. And I have a feeling they're going to be bringing back more. Okay. Make sure you subscribe to Control the Narrative on Substack. The link will be in here. And I think I'm going to do a little write-up on them also because there's some things I found out that I didn't talk about today. So y'all know where we can talk about that at. And also drop a comment and tell me straight, is a megachurch running a music label genius? I kind of think what they're doing is, and I want your thoughts on that. I want to see if there's a debate or if we're all on the same page because, I have my own ideas about this, but I want you to talk about it and feel free to express it. And any comments you have for them, I'll definitely share with them. So let's make sure we stay connected. And Tanya is my name. Controlling the narrative is my game. And if you don't control the narrative, the streets will, and not in your favor. I love how they are controlling the narrative around their church and their music and their stories. I am blessed to have you here, and please stay in touch. Until next time.